Okay, so let's talk a little further about thread and how to use thread to anchor the materials on the hook. First of all, you should always have a base of thread on the hook to begin with. And so I like to cover the thread going from the eye back to the bend and then back to the front again, depending on where I'm going to start. But I like to have two layers crisscrossing one another to provide a really textured base for the material to go on. Here's one reason to have that base. Let's say you're trying to tie in some deer hair. And deer hair is kind of a tricky material to tie in because it compresses and it's kind of bulky. And so when you tie in deer hair, what you want to do is you want to twist the thread in the clockwise direction to the right, righty-tighty, and make the thread as narrow as you can possibly get it so it bites into the deer hair really tightly. And you can make a few turns like this. And then the key is not to pile turns one on top of the other like this, because when you do that, all you're doing is you're compressing the hair further and you're actually loosening the first wraps that you put in with every wrap you put on top of it. So you're not really adding that much by going over and over and over in the same spot. Better to go forward. I'll show you that again with other material that's easier to see, but go forward, placing wraps one right next to each other, because that gets a better grab on the hair. And the other thing that's really key is after you make the wraps and pull everything tight, make a wrap or two that I call anchor wraps. Anchor the thread just around the hook itself, because that small radius of those turns is much stronger than trying to wrap it around this bulky deer hair. But once you anchor the thread with a couple of wraps, this stuff doesn't want to go anywhere. If you just wrap only around the hair, you may have to put many, many wraps, building up bulk in order to keep the thread, the hair from rotating around the hook. But now that I've got it anchored, I can't really even move it. I see a lot of flies that are tied where, especially after one use, the material starts migrating and twisting around the thread, which you don't want. And the same thing, I'll show you how to anchor some really slippery material like synthetics. This is Zelon, and it's a very slick, smooth synthetic material. So here's how to anchor that kind of material, tie that kind of material in. Leave yourself plenty of extra material, because what you want to do is, instead of tying turns on top of one another, tie them next to one another. That gives a way better grip on the material than piling on. And already I've got it almost anchored so it won't go anywhere. But if I make one more turn and then anchor the thread around the hook, then it becomes really difficult to pull out, and I don't need to put a lot of cement or glue or anything on it to ensure that nothing moves. So that's something to remember when you're tying flies with slippery materials or bulky materials like deer hair.